Hello everyone and welcome to my Y&R Insider 24 update channel. Will the young and the restless Kyle find Claire and Holden in bed together? On The Young and the Restless, Kyle informed Claire that he would be returning to Genoa City. On The Young and the Restless, both Kyle, Michael Miller, and Claire, Hayley Erin, flashed back to the scene where he said he was leaving LA and returning to Genoa City. She was surprised he was going back so soon. She asked him, "You're giving up that easily?" "Claire, excuse me, but you didn't tell him you wanted space, did you?" She seems to be giving him mixed messages, like she did when she broke up with him. She told him, "I'm not saying it's forever." We know that Claire still has feelings for Kyle, even though she doesn't really know what she wants. Otherwise, she wouldn't be thinking about him right after she fell in love with Holden. Her night with Holden, Nathan Owens, has lit a fire inside her, so we're pretty sure another love scene is headed our way. But the next time, it will take place in GC, since Claire plans to return home. Will Kyle sneak up on them both? Soap writers love to put characters in these kinds of shocking situations. We saw it on General Hospital, when Carly, Laura Wright, walked in on her husband, Sonny, Maurice Bernard, in bed with Nina, Cynthia Watros. We saw it on The Bold and the Beautiful, when Brooke, Catherine Kelly Lang, caught Hope, Annika Noel, in bed with Thomas, Matthew Atkinson. In this particular case on Y&R, Kyle should be the one to find the lovers in action. It might be the wake-up call he needs to convince him to move on from Claire for good. But where in GC might it occur? Will Claire move out of the TAC house and into the GCAC? Will Claire temporarily take a room at the GCAC on The Young and the Restless Image, CBS? If Claire wants to have more private time with Holden, then she might decide to move out of the TAC house, where she currently lives with her mother, Victoria, Amelia Heinley. Since half the characters on The Young and the Restless end up staying at the Genoa City Athletic Club at one point or another, then, maybe Claire will temporarily stay there until she can find her own apartment or house. Right now, Phyllis, Michelle Stafford, is staying at the GCAC, and Tessa, Kate Fairbanks, took a room there recently. Will Claire be the next individual to enter the GCAC? Kyle might hear that Claire has left the TAC house and is now staying at the GCAC through word of mouth. He may visit the athletic club to meet her in person because he is determined to keep her away from Holden. He may knock on the door while they're in bed together. Or since soap characters often walk right in, uninvited, he may discover that the door is unlocked, and he will open it. Imagine his shock at seeing them together. That would be dramatic, soapy fun. Or maybe Claire will rent the apartment above Crimson Lights. Sharon used to rent out the apartment above Crimson Lights on The Young and the Restless Image, YouTube. Do you recall the tiny apartment that was above Crimson Lights? Over the years, Sharon Case, has rented it out to various characters. Ray Rosales, Jordi Villasuso, lived there with Mia, Noemi Gonzalez, his wife at the time. On The Young and the Restless, Chelsea, played by Melissa Claire Egan, also lived there at one point. It's possible that Claire will be the next person to move in. Sure, it isn't a luxury apartment, the kind of place we would expect a Newman to live in. But Claire seems like the type who might appreciate a small, cozy dwelling that she could call her own. Besides, it's in a convenient location, since she's a regular customer at Crimson Lights. Imagine this. She arranges a time for Holden to visit her apartment. She creates a romantic atmosphere for them, lighting candles and pouring them each a glass of wine. Or perhaps they could collaborate on making Vesper cocktails. One thing leads to another, and then, there's a knock at the door. Who is it? Why, of course, it's Kyle. That would be the perfect cliffhanger ending to a Friday episode of Y&R. Jack and Diane close ranks to help Kyle. What's next on The Young and the Restless? On The Young and the Restless, Jack, Peter Bergman, and Diane are going to try to assist Kyle, Michael Miller. Kyle's, Michael Miller, sojourn to Los Angeles didn't go the way he hoped, as he failed to get Claire, Hayley Erin, to come home with him. She wasn't thrilled that he followed her to the City of Angels. On Halloween, Kyle did his best to conceal his disappointment from his son Harrison, Redding Munsell. Fortunately, Kyle and his parents are excellent parents as well. On Thursday's show, watch for Jack, Peter Bergman, and Diane, Susan Walters, Kyle's dad and mom, to close ranks to help their son. Will that entail them reaching out to Claire, Hayley Erin? Dear Diary. On The Young and the Restless, Lucas Adams' Noah may begin to reveal his character's most recent backstory. Noah, Lucas Adams, has been away from Genoa City for quite some time. He spent time in England, where he had a relationship with Audra, Zuleika Silva. Now, Noah is back stateside, and is ready to share what he's been up to during his time away from his family. Noah's been focused on healing ever since his car accident. He is now free to concentrate on other aspects of his life now that he has been making progress. On Thursday's show, watch for Noah to open up about his time away from Genoa City. Danger. Nick, Joshua Morrow, is worried about Sharon Case, on The Young and the Restless Image, CBS. When Sharon Case, and Nick, Joshua Morrow, traveled to Los Angeles to visit Noah, they had no idea how surprised they would be when Matt Clark, Roger Howarth, returned. But that's just what happened. There's danger lurking around every corner in light of Matt being back on the scene. Watch for Nick to worry about Sharon's well-being on Thursday's show. Sharon is determined to keep her family safe, but that might mean she will take action that will place her in jeopardy. Make no mistake, Sharon's very resourceful. After Cameron Kirsten, Lyndon Ashby, threatened her daughter Faith, Raylyn Caster, she killed him. However, Sharon might find herself in a predicament this time that necessitates Nick's assistance. Catch all new episodes of The Young and the Restless weekdays on CBS and Paramount+. Few storylines better capture the timing, tension, and tangled emotions of soap operas than the current dynamic between Holden, Kyle Abbott, and Claire Grace. A combustible mix of love, longing, and miscommunication is propelling the drama, which is intensifying the emotional chess game between these three characters. Viewers are left wondering whether Kyle will come across a scene that could dash his hopes, Claire and Holden sleeping together as he gets ready to return to Genoa City. To understand why such a moment would hit with such force, we have to examine each character's emotional journey, how the writers are crafting the setup, and the ripple effects such a discovery could have across Genoa City. Kyle Abbott's emotional whiplash, love, loss, and rebound. Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, has long been portrayed as a man of both heart and pride, a legacy child of the Abbott dynasty, raised in luxury but never far from emotional chaos. His intense and unexpected relationship with Hayley Erin's Claire Grace was intense. Claire, with her complicated family ties to the Newmans and her quest for redemption, represented something new for Kyle, a woman both fragile and strong, scarred yet sincere. When Kyle followed her to Los Angeles, it wasn't out of desperation, but rather an attempt to salvage something he wasn't ready to lose. But Claire's request for more room hit him like a brick wall. Their breakup was laced with contradiction. She claimed she needed distance, yet her eyes betrayed lingering affection. It's no surprise, then, that Kyle's decision to leave LA was tinged with bitterness and confusion. The scene where he tells Claire he's going back to Genoa City perfectly captures his frustration. "You're giving up that easily?" she asks, almost daring him to stay. But in that moment, Claire's words only deepen the ambiguity. She is caught between the comfort of Kyle's unwavering devotion and the excitement of her new connection with Holden, Nathan Owens, and her mixed signals suggest that she is fighting her own heart. Kyle, meanwhile, is nursing both heartbreak and ego. He feels dismissed, unappreciated, and most painfully replaced. Audiences for soap operas are aware that this is ideal for explosive storytelling. Kyle's return home sets the stage for a collision between his wounded pride and Claire's conflicted passion. Claire Grace, torn between two worlds. Claire has had one of the most complicated redemption arcs on The Young and the Restless. After being manipulated by Jordan and driven to commit unspeakable acts, she has worked tirelessly to rebuild her life and regain the trust of her family. But her past continues to haunt her. Her attraction to Holden represents both a step forward and a risk. He's confident, attentive, and new, offering her a kind of validation she's been craving. Their night together isn't just about passion, it's about liberation. For a woman whose life has been controlled by others, intimacy on her own terms is empowering. Still, Claire's subconscious betrays her when she finds herself thinking about Kyle right after being with Holden. That small but telling detail, remembering Kyle after making love to another man, suggests that her feelings for him run far deeper than she's willing to admit. The fact that Claire wants to keep the door open is made clear by her line, "I'm not saying it's forever." And that ambiguity is what makes her such a fascinating character. She's emotionally intelligent but not emotionally secure. She seeks independence but fears loneliness. She keeps Holden close because of this, but she can't let go of Kyle completely. If the writers decide to have Kyle walk in on Claire and Holden, it won't just be a sensational plot twist, it will be a symbolic moment. Kyle will have to confront the painful truth that love cannot endure when trust has already been broken, and Claire will have to face the consequences of her indecision. Holden, the wild card in the triangle. Every soap triangle needs a disruptor, and Holden fills that role perfectly. He is charming, self-assured, and a little bit mysterious without the weight of years of family strife or corporate conflict. He represents freedom and danger, precisely what Claire, after her traumatic past, finds irresistible. Holden's chemistry with Claire is undeniable. Their relationship feels fresh and physical, a stark contrast to Claire's emotionally complicated bond with Kyle. Holden is all about spontaneity and passion, whereas Kyle is a symbol of stability and family history. He doesn't judge Claire for her past, he simply accepts her as she is. Passion, on the other hand, can be fleeting in the young and the restless world. It's possible that Holden's presence is more of a catalyst than a destination. If Kyle were to find them together, Holden's character could evolve into a moral test. Will he stand by Claire amid the fallout, or will he vanish, leaving her to pick up the emotional pieces? Such a development could also humanize Holden further, transforming him from a rebound fling into a genuine romantic threat for Kyle. Setting the stage, where could the discovery happen? Soap fans know that location often plays a symbolic role in storytelling. It would appear that the writers are preparing multiple potential locations for a dramatic confrontation, each of which carries its own thematic weight. 1. The Genoa City Athletic Club, GCAC. The GCAC has long been a hotspot for romantic entanglements, secret affairs, and unexpected encounters. It would be the ideal setting for drama if, as was suggested, Claire made the decision to relocate there. Kyle might learn of her stay and show up, determined to talk. Soap logic dictates that the door will, of course, be unlocked. He'll walk in uninvited, only to find the woman he loves wrapped in someone else's arms. This would not only echo famous soap moments, like Carly catching Sunny on General Hospital or Brooke discovering Hope and Thomas on The Bold and the Beautiful, but also serve as a visual metaphor for Kyle's emotional intrusion into a space that no longer belongs to him. 2. The apartment above Crimson Lights. Another strong possibility is the cozy apartment above Crimson Lights, a setting rich with nostalgia and intimacy. If Claire rents this space, it would reflect her attempt at independence, stepping out of her mother's shadow and into her own life. Imagine the scene: soft lighting, candles, music, perhaps a bottle of wine on the table. Claire and Holden share a moment of quiet tenderness until a knock breaks the spell. She opens the door, and there stands Kyle. That moment, his face a mixture of disbelief and heartbreak, would make for a Friday cliffhanger worthy of classic Y&R. It's domestic, it's emotional, and it's deeply human. 3. The Tack House. Though less likely, the Tack House holds symbolic significance. It is a property owned by the Newman family, which serves as a reminder that Claire is still bound to her mother and her past. If Kyle were to see her there with Holden, the betrayal would feel even more intimate, happening in a place linked to her family legacy. Jack and Diane Abbott, parents to the rescue. While the younger generation of Genoa City grapples with romantic chaos, the elder Abbotts, Jack, Peter Bergman, and Diane, Susan Walters, will no doubt intervene. They've been here before, guiding Kyle through heartbreak and self-doubt. This time, their challenge is to help him accept loss without letting it consume him. Jack, ever the voice of reason, might remind Kyle that love cannot be forced, that chasing someone who isn't ready will only lead to more pain. Diane, on the other hand, will likely take a more protective stance. She will sympathize with her son's vulnerability because she has experienced her own struggles for love and acceptance. Their united front will show a side of the Abbott family that's often overshadowed by business rivalries, the fierce loyalty and emotional support that keeps them grounded amid chaos. If Kyle does walk in on Claire and Holden, expect Jack and Diane to rally around him. They may even reach out to Claire, urging her to be honest with herself and with Kyle. But knowing the Abbotts, there will also be an undercurrent of strategizing, a sense that even heartbreak can be turned into an opportunity for growth. Parallel storylines, echoes of the past. One of the great strengths of The Young and the Restless is its ability to weave multiple storylines together, using emotional resonance to tie them into a cohesive whole. In this case, Kyle's heartbreak mirrors other ongoing plots, from Noah's return and emotional reckoning to Sharon and Nick's protective instincts against new threats. The idea of facing one's past, of confronting old wounds while trying to move forward, is a recurring theme. Kyle's own cycle of leaving and returning is mirrored by Noah's reappearance after years of separation. Both men are grappling with unfinished emotional business, learning that distance doesn't always bring clarity. Sharon's storyline, meanwhile, reminds viewers that danger often lurks where we least expect it, a fitting metaphor for Kyle's impending emotional ambush. The psychology of the walk-in, why it works. From a narrative standpoint, the walk-in trope is one of the oldest and most effective tools in soap storytelling. It delivers instant drama, visual shock, and emotional stakes in a single moment. If Kyle walks in on Claire and Holden, the impact isn't just about betrayal, it's about timing. Kyle will realize that while he's been wrestling with hope and confusion, Claire has already crossed a line. For her, the relationship has evolved. For him, it's just ended in the worst possible way. Being found out would force Claire to confront herself. She could no longer hide behind indecision. She would have to articulate her feelings, whether that means admitting that Holden means more to her than she thought, or confessing that her night with him was an act of confusion and self-sabotage. And for viewers, the moment offers catharsis. After weeks of emotional build-up, the confrontation provides release, anger, sadness, and the possibility of closure or rekindled desire. Future implications. What comes next? The repercussions could reshape a number of relationships if the writers continue in this direction. Kyle's transformation. This heartbreak could push Kyle into a darker, more introspective phase. He might bury himself in work at Jabbo or find solace in unexpected places, perhaps even reigniting old sparks with Summer, Alison Lanny. Claire's assessment. Caught between two men and her own conscience, Claire would be forced to decide who she truly wants to be. Her actions could strain her relationship with her mother, Victoria, especially if the Newman family disapproves of Holden.